This is KGW News at noon.
Our top story at noon remains the incoming winter storm that is set to begin in a matter of hours now. And if you haven't adjusted your plans, you may want to start right now. Transportation officials have been out working on keeping the roads clear, but it isn't expected to last. Right now, I-5, I-84, and Highway 26 look pretty clear, but that ice is supposed to start as soon as this afternoon. Hello, I'm Tim Gordon. Thanks for joining us for the news at noon. PBOT told us this morning that they have been laying down that de-icer with hopes of keeping the roads from freezing in the first place. But once that ice sets in, it will be very hard to stop. So then they'll transition to laying down gravel and plowing. They also plan on salting pre-designated high traffic areas. But the bottom line here, transportation officials say the best thing that you can do is stay home and avoid being out on the roads at all. Now let's take a look at Portland General Electric's outage map. Some people are already without power today, and this trend is expected to continue as ice forms on power lines and trees and that wind blows. Now to Chris McGinnis in the Weather Center. And Chris, we are only a matter of hours left now until the storm really arrives.
Yeah, and to put this into perspective here, I think we're looking at about a 24 to 36 hour event here where things get nasty and it would be best to just not try to travel, right? Because the roads are certainly expected to ice up. It's not the case just yet, though. Here's a live look from our Rose City Sky camera. The clouds have moved in. The ceilings, as in the base of the clouds, is lowering, an indication that beneath the clouds, we're starting to moisten up that atmosphere a little bit. Right now it is cold and it is windy. 22 last check at PDX. The dew point is 0. That's one key. The air is really dry right now beneath those clouds. And of course, the east wind is howling. So that's giving us a feels like temperature, a wind chill right now in the low single digits. All right, radar right now shows snow falling over northwest Oregon. But for the most part, this is not reaching the ground just yet. Like I said, the air below the clouds is still really, really dry because it's just blowing right through the Columbia River Gorge where the air is extremely dry, right? So this first batch of moisture moving in likely to evaporate before it hits the ground. But in Newport, they are reporting unknown precipitation, which in this case likely means probably some sleet starting to fall at the Oregon coast. And eventually, as we go through the day, our winter storm warning kicks in here in Portland at 4 o'clock. So all bets are off from 4 o'clock on as to what the conditions of the local roadways will be like. The most likely scenario, though, at this point appears that we see a starting of the precipitation sometime between about 3 and 5 as snow, and then a transition to sleet. And I think we'll see a lengthy period of sleet here from late evening, and then we transition to freezing rain. And Tim, that is when things could get really, really slick. And you'll note here the temperatures are not budging. They're not going to budge tonight. They're not going to budge early tomorrow morning. We need to get above freezing before things improve. And we'll get a look at when that happens. Take a little more breakdown to the storm coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, more from you soon. Thanks, Chris. Well, the city of Portland just recently started using rock salt on roads when it gets icy the last couple of years, really. Many states and big cities, especially in the Midwest and East, routinely use salt on snow and ice. The story anchor, Pat Doris, looks into why Oregon has historically steered away from salt on the roadways.
So how did we get here? Oregon's Department of Transportation says they believe they used salt on the roads up until the 1950s, but can't find records about why it stopped. For years, ODOT and local agencies, including Portland, have avoided using salt during snow and ice. The big reason? It's bad for the environment.
All of that salt either stays on the road or washes off into the environment. It's not picked up. It's now part of our environment. Is that what people want?
Road salt hurts plant life on the ground and aquatic life as it washes into streams and rivers, and the effects build up over time. Lots of salt is also bad for your car.
My husband's from the Midwest, and I always heard, your car gets all, corroded because of all the salt on the roads.
And for roads and bridges. Salt's expensive to store, and it's expensive to fix damage caused by salt over several years. And that's why Oregon stayed away from it.
We have storm situations like this a handful of times each year. And so is it worth it? Is that trade-off worth it?
But as rare storms became more common, ODOT launched a pilot program in 2012 to test salt use at the border with California. It found salt effective for reducing crashes. It also found minimal soil contamination, but one stream did show elevated levels of salt. Then, on December 15, 2016, A storm that we called Snowmageddon descended on the Portland area. Here's what the opening of our newscast sounded like at 11 o'clock that night.
A December snowstorm snarls traffic, stranding thousands, including kids.
We're from West Sylvan. We just got out about an hour ago.
Thousands of people were stuck in their cars on Highway 26 for as long as 8 hours. Many people abandoned their cars and simply walked home.
Are you judging us Oregonians on how we deal with this situation?
A little bit, but you guys, y'all don't have salt, so makes sense. So you have a hard time driving in this stuff.
And the hills are really bad.
Yeah.
After the mess of that storm, ODOT launched a pilot program testing the use of road salt on certain highways in the metro area.
We've been listening to citizens who complain after virtually every storm where there's any sort of backup. We completely understand and empathize with somebody stuck for 4 to 6 hours out in a mess. Would salt have helped? We don't know, but we're going to find out.
It was not hard to find people in favor.
Yes, please salt the roads. Definitely.
Especially after several more storms over the next year left people in their cars stranded for hours. Since then, ODOT and PBOT have used salt in targeted areas. PBOT has an interactive map online. You can see which streets will get salt in the city of Portland. The streets in purple are salt routes. Most of them are in the West Hills, but also a few in East Portland, including 82nd Avenue. Other streets get liquid magnesium chloride or sand. ODOT says road salt is on the table for this storm if conditions call for it. They'll make that decision locally as the storm develops. If it is used, it will be spread on areas on I-5, I-405, I-205, and Highway 26. And that is how we got here.
Well, cold weather shelters have opened up across the Portland metro area. Last night, 4 severe weather shelters opened in Multnomah County, including at the Oregon Convention Center. Health officials warn you do not want to underestimate overnight temperatures, just frigid. In Washington County, there are more than 300 shelter beds between the Salvation Army building in Hillsboro and the Beaverton Community Center. They're equipped with everything from beds and blankets to hand warmers and food. Multnomah County's Director of Emergency Management says nobody will be turned away, and they're ready to add more beds if they need to. Multnomah County Health Officer Jennifer Vines expressed concerns about the cold temperatures expected to hit our area. Well, they're here now. She's worried about the houseless community and people that might get caught off guard.
I'm feeling today similar to how I felt in the days leading up to the 2021 heat dome, where again we had temperatures a full 20 degrees different than what most people had experienced in this region.
Now, if you have questions about the shelters in your area, all you have to do is call 211. And if you need to use public transportation, but you're worried that you just can't afford it, you will not be turned away for lack of funds. Well, temperatures are forecast to be the coldest to hit our area in years. You have until this afternoon before experts say to get inside and stay there. So here at noon, we want to get you some last-minute expert advice on how to prepare your home for this deep freeze we're in. First, they recommend you cover outdoor faucets, check the filter on your furnace to keep heat running smoothly, and let water drip from faucets to prevent pipes from freezing. Then, after you winterize your home, stock up on some salt or other de-icer for sidewalks and walkways.
Just out of kindness to people, nobody wants to slip and break a hip. So get some ice melt down, get the stuff shoveled off.
Another tip from Norm, if you do not need to venture out, get yourself a pair of, if you do need to venture out, I should say, get yourself a pair of ice cleats for extra traction. And please stick with us as we head into this ice storm. We've got you covered. You can text us with tips of what you've got going on in your neighborhood. And if it's safe to do it, snap a photo or record a short video for us of what you're seeing. Send it in. The latest forecast and updates are also available anytime on KGW.com or on our KGW app.